Yo guys, what's up? This is your boy John from Poltergeist.com, and this is part 2 of my lesson learned from that scary movie that I love called Poltergeist, okay? And if you didn't see part 1, you probably should go over there and check that one out, and I talk about why I like the movie and why I was watching the movie. But here's the other part, or the premise that I got out of this movie, is that, this is a good one now, is that the movie, you know, the house was built on property that was, you know, sacred kind of ground. It was a cemetery. And what happened was they had moved the tombstones, but they left the bodies. And the bodies, or the souls, or the spirits of those bodies, were starting to haunt the new buildings that are on top of the house. So, again, here's the lesson learned in this. Because what that would do, what would happen is that these guys would haunt the house, but they didn't have the real ability to manifest themselves in a real physical presence. You would see, you know, shadows, ghosts, you'd feel it. They would move, you know, some cars around, but they couldn't actually make the, hold on, the FedEx truck's coming. I'll be right back. Okay, he's gone now. God, he's got a noisy truck. Alright, where was I? Alright, anyway, so we were talking about the house was built on these dead people's graves, right? And the house was for the living, and it was built on top of the old home of the dead people. The weird thing was that the dead people didn't have the ability to physically affect the living people, but they only had the ability to kind of like scare you with you know, things flying around or stuff like that. And it really just started me thinking about how sometimes when you and I are trying to build our house or our new business on a platform that might have stories of the old dead, you know, and what they end up doing to us sometimes is that they give us, and they implant those seeds about their experience and their past and what didn't, you know, turn out to work well for them, and they kind of just, you know, put that in and over everybody else that ever wants to do anything. And it's really interesting because what happens for me and you is that we're part of the living. We're trying to build a house, but it's still, you know, got, you know, the dead bodies are still up under the house, and we let them haunt us. You got to be very, very careful about this. You got to be very, very careful about this. Because my mom used to say a long time ago, you know, that birds of a feather flock together. So you got to be very careful about where you're flocking. Because there are just as many, if not more, probably 10 times more, great stories of success in small business than there are of people who were not successful in doing small business. You want to find those people. You want to hang out with that kind of crew. You want to really make sure that you are feeding yourself the things that you need to keep your level of understanding and your attitude in the proper place. Remember this platitude, okay? And I'm not a big platitude guy, but yeah, I guess I make some of them up. But here's a platitude I like, is that your attitude determines your altitude. Your attitude determines your altitude. Gotta remember that, man. And remember again, like Mom used to say, birds of a feather flock together. So find you a successful flock, hang out with them, and see if you can emulate that success, as opposed to hanging out with the dead people, you know, who are just walking around like ghosts trying to scare the living. This is your boy John, Poltergeist.com. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.